Hi everyone, this is video 4, the last video on sequences. So far in our past videos, we have talked about the definition of a sequence, different types of sequences such as arithmetic, geometric, sequences of squares, sequences of cubes. So we have one last sequence to look at, and it's a very special type of sequence. And so kind of like I've mentioned in previous videos, whenever you're faced with a sequence, a good thing to do is see what you add to each term, what you maybe multiply to each term to get the next one. So let's do that with this one. And I'm going to zoom in on it a little bit just so it's easier for me to write what's going on. So to get from 1 to 1, we add nothing. To get from 1 to 2, we add 1. From 2 to 3, we add 1 again. From 3 to 5, we add 2. From 5 to 8, we add 3. From 8 to 13, we add 5. So clearly, the sequence is not arithmetic. We don't add the same thing every time. However, these numbers should look kind of familiar to you because we add 1, and then 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 5, which are the exact numbers in this sequence. So this should kind of let you know that this isn't arithmetic. We don't add the same thing each time, but what do we add? So if we have 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and 13, well, we see that we can get 2 to equal 1 plus 1. We add 1 and 1. We get 3 to equal 2 plus 1. We have 5 equals 2 plus 3. 8 equals 3 plus 5. And 13 equals 5 plus 8. So I'm actually going to rewrite this one to be 1 plus 2. So what we can see here is that to get a term in our sequence, to get 3, we add 1 plus 2 to give us 3. And we do the same thing with everything in the sequence. To get 5, we add 2 plus 3 to give us 5. To get 8, we add 3 plus 5 to get 8. And finally, to get 13, we add 5 plus 8. So this one, like I said, it's not arithmetic. We don't add the same thing every time, but we add the previous 2 terms in the sequence. So we can find our next terms because we just add 8 and 13 is 21 is our next term. And then we do 13 plus 21, which is 34 is our next term. And we can just keep going, adding the previous 2 terms to get the next term. So this type of sequence, this sequence specifically, is called the Fibonacci sequence. So it's named after someone named Fibonacci, and this is their sequence that they came up with. So this is called the Fibonacci sequence. So this is one type of sequence that's not like any of the others, and so that's what this sequence is. So this is the Fibonacci sequence, right? There's only this one, it has this name, but we can have other sequences like it. So if we just take some numbers, so if we take 2 and 7, you just pick 2 starting terms, you can create a sequence with the same pattern. So we can do 2, 7, 9, 16, 25, 41, and so on. You can create patterns, sequences that you take your first 2 terms, and then you can create a sequence. These are sequences also to be on the lookout of if you analyze them and you see, oh, well, hey, there's this pattern of how you add different things to get this sequence, right? You see the things that you add to each term start to mirror the sequence. Well, then you know that it's a sequence with this specific pattern. And that's all. So these are the types of sequences that we have to know. So we have arithmetic, geometric, sequences of squares, sequences of cubes, and Fibonacci-like sequences. So there's not a lot of homework over these types of sequences just because WebAssign doesn't have a lot. So you won't see too much homework over these sequences. This homework is combined with section 1.1, but this should be everything you need to know about sequences that will come up in the rest of the semester. So that is all on sequences.